Good afternoon, Dr. Many thanks for joining us here on Newsday.
Good afternoon, Cynthia. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, and I hope you're well. My colleague and I were just having this conversation before you came on about the realities that are on ground when we look at the northern part of Nigeria with for instance, what we see with a disdain in some states for Western education, the high level insecurity, and those who are brave enough to go to school end up being kidnapped in various contexts. So is it any surprise that education is in this state when we look at all these factors that are present?
Well, thank you very much. I think let us look at the bigger frame and the big picture. We paint it and then paint the smaller pictures and then put them together and understand the larger picture. The bigger picture is that, yes, education is under siege in the entire North. Insecurity is the daily happenings. Collapse of education and educational institution is also not news. But let us look at the entire North. And when I say the entire North, I mean the entire North. All northern states are sharing more than 2,000 kilometers borders with Cameroon, with Niger, and to some extent with Benin Republic. Now, these borders, 2,000 kilometers as they are, there are 11,000 that people can take and enter any part of the state. These borders remain minimally monitored by the federal institution because it is federal responsibility, and maximally exposing all the states to infiltration. That's the population of northern Nigeria is not growing out of frequent birth or multiple births. No, it's more a combination of birth and immigration of people, illegal immigrants through the borders. Therefore, improving or increasing the population geometrically, not only that, stretching all the social amenities available. Until and unless we have a controlled border, in the next 10, 15, 20 years, the entire northern states, their population will be submerged by people coming in from Cameroon, from Benin, from Niger, from Libya, and from so many other internal movements. That's number one. Number two, when there are crises in other parts of the country, and even there are people who are settling, there are settlers from the southern part of Nigeria, in millions, that have settled permanently in northern Nigeria. They are also overstretching those resources meant for this particular region. Having said that, insecurity will continue to become the order of the day in Nigeria. Collapse of education will continue in a speed of light. Why? Because those who are presiding over the resources meant for the larger society are not looking at the bigger picture of managing people and their resources. They are myopic in terms of planning. They are myopic in terms of spending. They are resource allocation. For an example, I have seen the budgetary proposals of about 12 of the 19 northern states, and I have copies of them, of this 2026. There is a particular state where an allocation has been made for over 29 billion naira as admin and overhead costs in the governor's office. But in his own, what has he allocated? 9.9 billion naira for both capital and recurrent. A governor who spent that billions of naira for admin in his office and spent this paltry sum on education in his own states, both secondary and primary and tertiary education, is a governor that must not be believed. No matter how much he says that he loves education, he is the biggest enemy of education. Or you find white elephant projects. You find there is a state that has now budgeted over 500 billion naira to do what? Road construction. Of the amount, 94.5% of that amount is going to be spent what? In the capital city. The remaining paltry sum is meant for feeder roads. When there is no feeder roads in the local governments, everything is affected, from commerce to education to health sector to everything. So it is the totality of the negative myopic spending of those who are presiding over resources of the state that is contributed in what? In insecurity, in internal migration, collapse of education, collapse of the health sector. There is a linear relationship between the collapse of these systems, the collapse of these institutions, with rising insecurity, with the decline in the quality of education that we are facing in northern Nigeria now, until and unless the politicians of this age, the northern politicians, wake up from their slumber of selfishness, allocate resources honestly, honorably, sincerely, in a balanced manner, to build in society in a manner that people are going to get employed, people can go to school, people can go to hospitals for that long. We should stop complaining about insecurity in northern Nigeria. We should stop talking about collapse of education. We should stop talking about collapse of values. Because there is a relationship between the way politicians are holding northern, are spending northern money, and the manner in which a crisis is engulfing us like a bushfire.
So finally, the northerners elites are saying, oh, they need to invest, like government needs to invest in education in the north and blah, 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 blah. Do I want the government to invest in education in the north? I'm going to say my mind and speak the truth. I don't want that. I don't want that. I know how Goodluck Jonathan literally dedicated his tenure to pushing education in the north. And literally all this educational center has now turned to a bandit, has turned to literally bandit houses for terrorism. Because trying to push education in the north is like giving this elite, northern elite, money to steal. Because we know these people don't want education. They don't want education. They love how their children and their youth are literally in poverty. They love how their people are poverty stricken. These people do not want education. So the federal government should not spend any money in education in the north. Whereas the one that Goodluck Jonathan literally spent his tenure pushing for education for these people, what is the outcome? What is the outcome? These people are under Sharia law. And in that Sharia law, they don't even see education as a benefit. So why should Nigeria government keep spending money and we don't even know where the money is going to? Because their children are literally out there on the street doing whatever they want to do. Please, because we know the money is not going to go to their education, so the government should not waste any other fund, any other Nigeria fund. There's so much to be done in Nigeria. There's so much that needs to be done in Nigeria.
Very good, Dr. Makti, if you can still hear us. Okay, very good. We have you. It's quite revealing, your contemporary perspective on this issue, as it were. And I'm glad you brought up the issue of regional leaders themselves having to play a role over these issues. But I'd like you to go a little way back historically. How would you trace the lack of educational development in the north in its entirety? Is it a religious or cultural scenario here? Is there a particular preference for Islamic education over, Western education, as it were?
I think it's a totally misunderstood situation. Northern Nigerians are willing, are hungry, are urging for Western education because they have seen the essence from time immemorial. What is not available is that the infrastructure for education is collapsing by the day, by the week, by the month, by the all year through. It has been continuous collapse of educational system, educational infrastructure. Look, way back, as far back as 1963, I can remember as a school-going child that time, that even the smallest people in my community are urging, they want to go to school. We have always had this urge. Even those who were there before us we had the urge for education. What is not there is that continuously those people who are reposed with the responsibility of planning education, funding education, monitoring education development, writing the curriculum, implementing the curriculum, are sleeping, they have gone into slumber. Why? Because most of them can afford the private education for their children. The moment private institutions began to emerge in northern Nigeria, that was the beginning of the collapse of education. The moment they allow people who are not qualified to be teaching in primary and secondary school in northern Nigeria, from that time educational quality began to collapse, to go down and to nosedive. The moment money is allocated for education are paltry, small and inadequate, from that time education began to collapse. I mean, it's a combination of so many negligence, ineptitude, greed, selfishness, lack of capacity to drive society forward that has brought the North on its own knees now, and especially on the educational sector. It's not the lack of urge for education. Our children love education. Our people love education. We know the value of education. We have urge for it. But then the entire scenario, the entire atmosphere is not favorable. Deliberately not favorable.
A school had no chairs, no tables, nothing. But yet, the priority was to build a mosque. So yesterday, I went to a get-together at a friend's place, but then I got into a conversation with one of our colleagues, and at a point he asked me, what is wrong with the North? And immediately, a story my health communication lecturer told me in the university came to mind. It's a story that still shocks me till today, but honestly, the reaction from people actually shocks me even more. She said one time during their secondary school alumni meeting, they decided to contribute money for the betterment of their school. Before then, they had visited the school to assess what was needed and also spoke to the teachers about their challenges. The school was dilapidated. Children had no chairs or tables to learn. They were literally sitting on the floor to receive lectures. So after gathering the money, the alumni started discussing what they should use the money for, which was already strange to me because the solution was obvious. My lecturer spoke up and said, let's use the money to renovate the school and buy books for the students. But that suggestion was countered. Why? Because some people had already decided that the best thing to build in the school was a mosque. She tried to convince them, she explained, and eventually she was pushed back. And at the end of the day, a mosque was built and the school remained dilapidated. Now, here is where it gets even more shocking. After she said that story to us, my closest friend in the university there, which was an Hausa girl, said to me, how can someone be against building a mosque? So I explained something very simple to her. I told her that Islam is simple and peaceful. You can pray anywhere. And beyond that, if the classrooms had been renovated, they could have created a makeshift prayer space when it was time for prayer. And most importantly, the school was not established as an Islamia. It was built for Western education. So how do you completely deviate from its original purpose and adopt something entirely different? Our children are still sitting on the floor to learn. It is how a typical northern person thinks, not because they are foolish, but because their leaders have programmed them in that manner. And if there is no one to explain things differently, the way I'd explained to my friend, they may never realize that they are living in a shell. The northern people have been seriously failed by their leaders. So before you judge them, remember this. They didn't wake up like this. They were programmed that way.
Welcome back. Instead of building a school, they build a mosque. Instead of building a school, they brought bandits. That is what the Northerners are saying today. Although they are saying all these things because they are not happy with what they are seeing. The condition they are seeing, people in northern Nigeria is not what they want. That is what they are saying today. Although, if I can say, the only people that want the betterments of northern Nigeria is only Madi Shehu and Shehu Sani, because they are the only truthful northern, elites and, leaders from the north I have known ever since I've been on this internet space. You know that even right from when Buhari did, when he rule, Madi Shehu, they talk about this thing that this school where we say they for inside their region, it go affect their region well, but even the Buhari and his own cabinet, then there be no put mind and there be no even think of building a school and many other things in northern Nigeria. That is what is affecting them, and that is what they are lacking of today, and that is the reason why the northern region is insecure because you cannot, go to the north and, sleep with two of your eyes closed. So that is the, condition that the northern, people are in today. So that thing has made Madi Shehu to come out again to say something concerning what they happen for that today again. If you look at most of the thing he has said, he says something like even the allocation that the northern governor, are collecting, they are using the allocation to, build one mosque and use the rest of the money to, sponsor their, students, their children abroad. That is within that is going on today. Although you get within I want talk, and this thing where I want talk now be to the northern youth. Because northern youth now, they watch and they study within the southern youth they do. Where we say if southern governor are mistaken or doing any bad thing, the southern youth go begin the talk about them. You northern youths, I never see any of una wey be say una don come out come dey criticize una own leaders before. So if una no criticize una own leaders, who go come dey criticize una leaders for una before Nigeria government abi federal government go come dey hear wetin dey happen for them? If no be only one northern youth where I know say okay in dey truthful for wetin in dey do, the rest of una na liar una be. That mosque wey be say that they build for una self, una too like am. That is why una no wan dey speak. I don see some and many times wey be say person for inside south now don't try speak for una wey be say una wey be northern youth now don't come they want those people. So if una dey like that, how una want take the move forward? How una no go dey backward when waiting dey una own head is to be telling una governor to keep building mosques for una, and the mosques wey be say that they build for them for una, no be say una they eat for inside the mosque or gaining anything out of the mosque. Now they been the mosque they are building for una self, they are using that mosque to teach you guys many things from the Quran. I would have loved the mosque, but the mosque they are building for una, they are not teaching any of you any genuine thing from the mosque. They are only preaching bad thing to una for inside the same mosque. So what is the essence of building the mosque today? So if you will say you be youth of the north today, just stay mute and never want to say something about waiting your governor they do to you and the allocation where be say that they collect from the federal government, where be say they no want use do anything for una side. If una no talk now una know for una self, because the Madi Shehu alone no fit do and where be say he go work for him. He need to get many people where be say them they beside him for this thing to work. So to fight government it no be easy thing in be, because you alone, if you say you go fight government, your own earn money where be say you don't save, your own hard earned money go just go like that. So that is why una where be say una be the youth of the north now need to stand up with Madi Shehu and Shehu Sani, so that wetin una they go on for them now go just stop. Now wetin I go like tell una today, and wetin I dey tell una no say okay no be today I begin to tell una all this. I have been telling you guys all this, but you guys hear it with one eye and allow this to follow the other ear. Come on, now we've seen you guys they do. So I think this time around that Madi Shehu has come out again. You guys now need to start following Madi Shehu to make sure you guys get what you want in the north. That is all I can say. And for those of you who have anything to let us know here concerning what is going on here, you can drop it below. And also if today is the first time you come in, please can you like, share, subscribe. Thank you.